Welcome back to Database DevOps from start to finish. Right now, we are starting in on the modifying an existing database section. And this lesson, we're going to import an existing database into a brand new project. So let's go back to our Visual Studio. We have here the existing project that we have started. So you've got the PersonDB project, but let's just say that we didn't start from scratch. We started from an existing database. Over here on the left, I've expanded out the Christmas list database. This is just a little sample database that I've created. There's a few things in it. It has a person table, an address table, and a purchase table. Notice that the person table has data in it, and the purchase table has data as well, although the address table right now is empty, and that's fine. So there's three different tables. We also have a view, so you can double click on that and view it. And we also have a stored procedure. So there's our basic existing application or database system. Now, this represents what if you decide you want to use SQL Server data tools, but you already have a database that you built using SSMS or another means of building your database. It's already existing, it already works, it's already running. So how do you then use this database with the SQL Server data tools? How do you bring it in? It's actually quite easy. So what we're going to do is right-click on a solution and add a new project. So we'll have two projects, one for the new database, the PersonDB, and one for an existing database that we're then going to work with, and that's going to be the Christmas list database. So we can search for SQL Server database project, select it, hit next. I'm going to name this the same name as my Christmas list DB, so Christmas list DB, and hit SQL script. So if you have a SQL script that creates a database, you can actually extract it into your project. But we're going to choose database because we have access to this database directly, and we can just choose to connect to it. So we go to browse, go to local, and it's MS SQL local DB, and I select the Christmas list database and hit connect. I can leave the rest of these settings alone, but let's look at them. We could create a new solution if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that because I already have the solution and I already have the project. We could import the application scoped objects only. That means import just the things that are for this. Yes, we want to do that. And I could import reference logins. So if there's something that says it uses this login, I want to make sure I have that login with it. We don't have that in this setting, but that's an option for you. By default, it's checked. I could import permissions and database settings. I'm not going to do that, and by default, those are unchecked. The folder structure is a similar structure. In fact, it's the same structure as what I used in our PersonDB project, and that is schema/object type. You could do just schema. Remember, schema is that DBO. And so it could be just DBO and everything's underneath it. Or we could have just object type. And so you'd have, under the root of the folder, you'd have table and view and store procedure. and then the things inside them. Or you can have no folder structure and just have a whole bunch of SQL scripts inside your project. The default is what I prefer, which is schema/object type. And the maximum files per folder is 1,000. So that if you had more than 1,000 objects in the table folder, let's say, it's going to break that up. But we're going to start right there and hit start. This is going to gather all the information, create the import, and now it's complete. I hit finish, and now let's look and see that we have a folder called DBO. Inside that folder, we have 3 folders: store procedures, tables, and views. Looks very, very similar to views, store procedures, and tables. In fact, the only difference is I don't put a space in the folder name, and they do. That's the only real difference. And that's because I look at this like a C# developer, and spaces are bad. But in this case, spaces aren't a problem. Now, if we expand this out, we'll notice that we also have our scripts. So if I double click, there's a script for the view, there's a script for the store procedure, and there is our 3 tables. Notice they're all filled in as needed. So this is all taken care of, and it was just that right-click import. So if you have an existing database and you want to create an SSDT project or a SQL Server Data Tool project, just create the project, right-click, import, and import either your database or that DAC pack file. Once you've done that, now you can start working with your database just like you would if you created it natively inside of Visual Studio. So that's it for importing it. Now we'll move on to the next lesson to what do we do about changes.